The laughter echoed across the crystal chandeliers before anyone even knew who he was. It started as a whisper, then turned into open mockery. A man in a faded gray janitor's uniform stood near the grand staircase of the five-star ballroom, holding a small gift bag in one hand and the fingers of a shy little girl in the other. His shoes were polished but old, his sleeves slightly frayed, and his posture stiff under the weight of 100 judging eyes. And then the billionaire's fiancée tilted her head, smirked, and asked loudly who had invited the janitor. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and judging people by their hearts rather than their clothes, take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that remind us what truly matters. The ballroom glittered with wealth. Crystal glasses chimed against marble floors. Women in silk gowns glided past diamond-lit tables. Men in tailored tuxedos discussed investments and yachts. This was the engagement party of Daniel Whitmore, a tech billionaire known for building empires from nothing. He had invited the most powerful names in the city. CEOs, politicians, celebrities. Everyone who mattered was there. Or so they thought. At the edge of the room stood Michael Rivera, the janitor everyone was laughing at. But the uniform didn't define him. It hid a story most of them could never survive. He had once worked in construction before an accident crushed his leg and ended his career. Hospital bills followed. His wife left under the pressure, unable to handle the mounting debt and the long nights filled with fear. Suddenly Michael was alone, raising his 5-year-old daughter Lily, who clung to him as if he were the only safe place left in the world. To survive, he took whatever work he could find. Night shifts cleaning office buildings. Mopping floors after executives left. Scrubbing bathrooms no one else wanted to touch. He swallowed his pride each time someone ignored him like he was invisible. He did it because Lily needed school supplies, medicine, and warm dinners. He did it because she still believed her father was the strongest man alive. Daniel Whitmore knew that. Years ago, before Daniel became a billionaire, he was a desperate young entrepreneur renting a tiny office space in a rundown building. His startup was bleeding money. Investors had laughed at him. His co-founder had quit. One night, after everyone else had left, Daniel sat alone staring at his laptop, wondering if he should give up. That night, a janitor walked in quietly and began cleaning around him. Michael had noticed the exhausted young man before. He saw the unpaid electricity notices on the desk. He heard the heavy sighs. That night, instead of staying silent, he spoke about persistence, about rebuilding after loss, about showing up even when the world laughed. Daniel had listened. It wasn't business advice. It was human advice. It was survival advice. Daniel never forgot that. Back in the present, the billionaire's fiancée, Vanessa Cole, stood in a shimmering gold gown that cost more than Michael earned in months. She had grown up surrounded by wealth, taught to measure value by status. To her, appearances were everything. And tonight, the appearance of a janitor at her engagement party felt like an embarrassment. The guests laughed softly, some openly staring. Lily squeezed her father's hand tighter. Michael felt the familiar sting of humiliation rise in his chest. He had almost turned around at the entrance. The security guard had hesitated when he gave his name. But the invitation had been real. Handwritten. Signed personally by Daniel. Before Michael could decide whether to leave, Daniel stepped forward. His expression shifted from surprise to something unreadable. He crossed the marble floor, ignoring the whispers. The music softened as conversations faded. Vanessa gave a small, forced laugh and repeated her question, asking who had invited the janitor. Daniel didn't answer her immediately. Instead, he walked straight to Michael and embraced him. The room went silent. Michael stiffened, unsure how to react. His calloused hands awkwardly patted Daniel's back. Lily peeked out from behind her father's leg, eyes wide at the sparkling lights. Daniel then did something no one expected. He walked toward the stage, picked up the microphone meant for toasts, and gestured for Michael to join him. The silence in the ballroom felt heavy, electric. Michael hesitated. His heart pounded. He wasn't meant for stages or spotlights. He cleaned them after events ended. But Lily looked up at him with trust shining in her eyes. And slowly, step by step, he followed Daniel to the front. Daniel began speaking, his voice steady but thick with emotion. He told the room about the night he almost quit. About the janitor who had spoken to him like an equal when everyone else saw him as a failure. He described the man who worked double shifts yet still found the strength to encourage someone else. He admitted that the advice given in that empty office had changed the course of his life. Then Daniel did something even more unexpected. He handed the microphone to Michael. For a moment, Michael could only see the blur of chandeliers and faces. His throat tightened. He thought about the nights he skipped dinner so Lily could eat. The mornings he limped home before sunrise. The times people avoided eye contact as if his uniform were contagious. He thought about how small he had felt just minutes ago. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft but clear. He talked about dignity in honest work. About how no job makes a person lesser. About raising a child alone and learning that love is measured in sacrifices no one sees. He said he never expected recognition, only the chance to provide for his daughter. He thanked Daniel not for the invitation, but for remembering. There were no dramatic speeches about wealth or revenge. Only truth. And the truth moved the room. Guests who had laughed earlier now lowered their eyes. Some wiped tears quietly. Vanessa stood frozen, her perfect smile gone, confronted by a story that didn't fit into her world of appearances. When Michael finished, the applause started slowly, then swelled until it filled the ballroom. It wasn't polite applause. It was genuine. Daniel walked back to him and announced that the first foundation funded by his company would be dedicated to supporting injured workers and single parents striving to rebuild their lives. And it would be named after the man who reminded him what resilience looked like. Lily beamed with pride, her small hand wrapped around her father's fingers as if she had always known this moment would come. But the real victory wasn't the applause or the foundation. It was the shift in perspective. The reminder that greatness often wears humble clothes. That the person mopping the floor may have a strength the world desperately needs. Vanessa approached Michael later, her tone quieter, her expression changed. Humility had found its way into her polished world. And though redemption doesn't come instantly, awareness is the first step. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe so more people can hear messages like this. And before we end, I have a special request for you. Comment the word dignity if you believe no job defines a person's worth. Because sometimes, the one everyone laughs at is the very person who taught the billionaire how to rise. And sometimes, the loudest applause isn't for the richest person in the room, but for the one who never stopped showing up, even when no one was watching.